Hi, and welcome back to Nilda's Kitchen. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to cook Lechon Asado, which is roasted pork. Now in Puerto Rico, if you were in Puerto Rico, they would normally cook it on the outside under coal. But since we live here in the United States, we're not allowed to do that. We're going to be cooking this in the oven. So let's get started and let me teach you how I cook my roasted pork. Now let's look at the ingredients that I'm going to be using to cook my roasted pork or Lechon Asado. This is a meat that I picked up at our Spanish Latin grocery store. It's called carne de puerco, so pork meat. And as you can see, it's a good, nice 12-pounder or 9-pound pork. And this is a frozen one. I've already taken one out that is not frozen. And of course, what I did is that after I took it out, I washed it. You always want to wash your meat, especially your pork. So we're looking at the ingredients that I'm going to be using to season my meat. Again, Goya, my #1 favorite to season it. This is you be using this. This one as well to give it color and some flavor as well. I also use some pepper. I love pepper on my meat, but we can also use towards the end, if you like, you can add the sea salt to your meat, but remember that the adobo already has salt in it, so you want to go a little light on this salt. But if you're a little confused as to how much season to use, or you don't want to go overboard, I do suggest that you can go to your local grocery store and purchase your McCormick Montreal steak. Some people like with spice, and you also got the peppercorn if you like peppercorn on your meat. What's nice about this mixture is that it already has everything in it, so it's all balanced out, so you don't have to be worrying if you put too much of one thing and not enough of the other. But again, I strongly suggest I always use this one to season it. This other one is just to put on top of it. And then also, you're going to see that once the meat is almost cooked, what I do is that I grab a little bit of my adobo and I season them inside, and I also grab some of this to season it. But again, it's very simple to cook, so let's get started on seasoning the meat. I already got started seasoning my meat, and you're gonna see what I did. What I tend to do with my meat is that I tend to slice it, make holes in them, and then I grab some adobo and I put some inside there. Now it might look like a lot, but you gotta understand that once this meat starts to cook and it starts falling apart, there's no seasoning in the inside. So that's the reason why I tend to cut it and make slices, and I season it. And at the end, towards the end, once it's already cooked, like I said before, I'm gonna cut it open, cut it in little pieces, season it again. But I'll show you later on in my video exactly what I do. So now that I've seasoned my meat, what I'm gonna do is that you always gotta warm up your oven at 350. Also, it's pretty much like cooking a turkey. For every pound, it's 20 minutes per pound, roughly. You always also gotta, play around with also your meat. Another trick, because you can also put this in the oven as is, cover it up, put it in the oven as is. But what you're gonna notice is that it's gonna tend to dry up. It's not as juicy as you would like it. What I do is that I use these oven bags. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with it. People use it to cook their turkey, because turkey, when you cook it, it gets dry if it's not cooked properly. So I put the meat in this bag, and it just comes out so juicy and so moist. I always use it every time I cook my roasted pork. So let's get this in the bag, and then we'll put it in. As you can see, I've already put both of my pork inside the bags. So I'm going to cover it up. You don't need to put aluminum foil or anything else because it's in the bag. You're going to notice that with the heat, the bag is going to get a little fluffy. So anyways, let's get this into the oven. And remember, 20 minutes per pound approximately. You do want to check on it every so often, make sure it's cooking. And if you needed to add more time, by all means, do it. Another thing is that since you're cooking this is going to require at least 3 hours. I am cooking 2 of them. I have company coming over. I'm starting early in the morning because it's going to take at least 3.5 to 4 hours. So let's get this covered, and let's get it in the oven. Well, it's been approximately 6 hours since I put the pork in to cook. Now it's time to take the pork out of the bag. As you can see, If you want to get in a little closer, how it's already starting to rip in pieces. See how it's starting to? So now what we're going to do is I'm going to take it out of the bag, then we're going to cut it up, and then we're going to season it again because we want to get the inside as well seasoned. Well, as you can see, I took one bag out and it's ripping to shreds that the bones literally just came out. It's very hot, so be careful. So I'm getting ready to take out this bag out of this meat out of this bag, and as you can see, it's just ripping. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it up. I'm going to season it because I really like to get all my meat seasoned, not just the top of it. And once I cut up all the meat, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to leave this skin. If you notice, there's a fat here. And I like to get it nice and crunchy. You can actually start serving this as is if you don't want the crunchy part, but the people I'm inviting over for dinner actually prefer it nice and crunchy. So let me finish getting rid of this bag out of here, and then I'm going to cut it up and I'm going to re-season the inside. All right, now let's, as you can see, look at the bone is just coming out. It's kind of hot, so be careful. If it gets some stuck in here, you can try to take it out if you want, or just leave it as is. I'm not going to even bother. It's just really stuck into the plastic bag. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start cutting this thing up. Well, as you can see, the inside is not really seasoned, so I'm going to start seasoning this part. And I'm going to use my adobo, again, my favorite seasoning. Just going to spread it around there. And some of my McCormick as well. And then I'm just going to continue to mix it around in there. And as I'm mixing, I'm going to actually start seasoning a little bit more because I want to get all of it well seasoned. Well, as you can see, the inside is not really seasoned, so I'm going to start seasoning this part. And I'm going to use my adobo, again, my favorite seasoning. Just going to spread it around there. And some of my McCormick as well. And then I'm just going to continue to mix it around in there. And as I'm mixing, I'm going to actually start seasoning a little bit more because I want to get all of it well seasoned. Well, after 7 hours of cooking my Lechon Asado, or roasted pork, this is the finished product. I did cook close to 20 pounds of lechon, which was able to feed 16 people. And as you can see, I paired it up with my arroz con gandules. One of my first videos, I showed you how to cook this. The lechon, of course, which was, I cooked this yesterday, and a side of a piece of bread. This is a typical Puerto Rican dish, and bon appetit. Delicious.